It's one small step for man, one giant... Cut! Could you get the guy out of the shot, please? I can't. How can I work under these conditions? Good. All right, let's go back to this. Are you ready, John?
Mr. Kubrick, are we ready?
Are you ready?
Mr. Kubrick?
Are you ready to film this? Good. Okay, moon landing. Take 2. John, we're going to talk about conspiracy theories today. I'm Josh Nichols. This is John Oderman. This is Pop Culture Problems, and we are about to probably be taken off the internet because people don't want us talking about this.
Well, here's the thing, though. Nobody's going to hear this episode because the NSA is going to take it off of the podcast app.
Wow.
Because we're going to be talking about a lot of things that they don't want us talking about.
Yeah, conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
I tried to think of an epic way to say what we were going to talk about, but it didn't come out. Okay, so conspiracy theories. Name the top 3 conspiracy theories that you can think of.
The JFK assassination.
Okay.
The moon landing.
Okay.
And, this is kind of probably like Roswell.
Oh, shit, Roswell.
Yeah.
I think those are kind of the biggies that I can think of, too.
Maybe who built the pyramids.
Okay.
But that will or will not. I mean, that's more of like a...
that's like a worldwide conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more thinking kind of American conspiracy theories because that's what we kind of
maybe like
are inundated with.
Maybe like the Illuminati, like Bilderberg Group, One World Order type thing.
Yeah. Ooh, the Illuminati. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Saucy.
I don't want to get into
You could tie. Well, and the thing is if you really wanted to get crazy and like jump, maybe big leaps, maybe small leaps, you could say that the Illuminati is all encompassing conspiracy theory, and
they're run by aliens, and they were threatened by JFK, and the whole 9/11 thing, and the moon landing. I mean, so you could get really deep into this. Now, with the
Mel Gibson did in that movie, conspiracy theory.
So the moon landing.
Yeah.
Tell me your. I want to do this. I want to take a topic, get your theory, give you my theory, and kind of just to see where we're at first.
I have had long arguments about the moon landing.
Okay. I just need to know your
where
basic
insults have been thrown out. My thing with the moon landing is
1969.
We went to the moon. We walked on the moon, allegedly. I am open to the idea that we were. But why is it so damn hard for us to go back there now?
Oh, shit.
If we were able to go there with 1969 technology, we should be making trips back and forth on the regular by now.
Do you believe that the moon landing was fake?
I think there's
what is your belief?
Like gut.
Yeah.
Gut? Sure. Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay.
How about you?
I believe that it is plausible. And the reason I mention that,
why do you hold a gun to my head and say yes or no, John? And yet you can take the plausibility angle.
Well, John, when you're the star,
because you're holding the gun.
When you're the star of the show, you can. I mean, your name might be first, but that was only because I didn't want you to feel bad. I mean, come on. So
I'm where you're at. It's plausible.
Okay. Well, and the reason I think it's plausible, I don't know a lot about the moon landing and all this stuff. I think it's plausible because one, America wants to be the best. We think we're the best. Whether we are the best or not, we want to be the best. Sometimes, in certain points of history, maybe even now, maybe not, we are the best. I don't know. But we want to be the best. And it's kind of a, this international pissing contest we have with other country where we want to be number one. And we talked in previous episodes about you don't want to be a loser. So we want to be a winner. So because of that, if we were losing in the race to get to the moon or to get in outer space, if we were going to lose that battle, I think that we would fake it in order to not lose, at least in that time frame.
Absolutely, because I think it was a thing that people saw it as we had to win that. It was the middle of the Cold War. We had to win that space race. We had to get to the moon first. We had to claim like U.S. sovereignty on the moon, even though like what was on the moon that we could really use. And it was kind of a like a. Rocks? it was a way for us to beat the Soviets without firing a bullet.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and then the other thing I look at is when I look at filmmaking, okay? Filmmaking at the time was advanced enough to film a very simplistic version of a moon. Like, it was a stationary camera. Yeah, it was a guy. Like, it was very simple.
And we didn't have high resolution cameras where you could have seen if something was fake.
Exactly.
I mean, you look at that footage now, and you can't even like improve it to the point where you could tell. You know, yeah, that's definitely a moon rock, or this definitely wasn't shot on a sound stage. That flag is waving, but there's not supposed to be any atmosphere on the moon for wind. So how is it doing that?
We see a reflection of Stanley Kubrick in the helmet. Like, it's like, what the heck? I think we kind of had that ability. Now, whether or not we did it, like, for me, it's one of those, with conspiracy theories, I'm often in the camp of I don't care. And that's where maybe I'm, a naysayer on some of the stuff, where I'm just like, who cares?
Well, but see, like, I care because if we did, I hope that we did, but I just really struggle with the fact that, like, our technology has advanced to such a degree, like our knowledge of science and stuff has advanced to such a degree that, like, guys like Elon Musk and these guys that are trying to go into space, they should be able to go. If we've already been there, like, they should be able to look at how we did it and improve upon that. And nobody's doing that.
Okay, but we have been to the moon since, or you think we haven't? We've never been.
I don't know.
Okay, but let me ask
you why did we stop going? If we've been there, why did we stop?
Already did that. Already did it. Next planet.
But there's no further scientific use for the moon?
I don't think so. I mean, unless you want like a big gray beach, where volleyballs go further up in the air.
We couldn't learn about life, extending life in a zero oxygen, low gravity environment. I feel like that would be like something that would be useful for the furtherance of mankind. I mean, think if we do want to go to some place like Mars, why wouldn't we put like a colony on the moon to where we could do some evidence-based research?
Well, it could also be a stopping point, like just a pit stop on the way to the next planet.
Because it takes less energy to escape the moon's gravity. So that'd be a great launching point for a further space mission.
I would like 10% of the profits of this idea, but let's make it a source of renewable energy. That's a big windmill. If that thing's spinning around, does the moon rotate?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, there you go. The moon's rotating.
And I've always heard this, but I've never ever actually been able to verify it. Do we ever see the dark side of the moon?
I don't know. Well, it would be dark, so wouldn't it always be refined? I mean, isn't that what different phases of the moon is?
But you see when you have a full moon, you always see the same side of the moon.
Okay.
So, is there something on the back side of the moon?
Okay, yeah. Well,
there's conspiracy theorists that say that there's
of course there's.
Alien colonies on the dark side of the moon that we never see.
Considering that the Earth is flat, I can only assume that the moon is flat as well.
Yeah.
Now, do you, John, believe that the Earth is flat?
No.
Why not? Why not?
Because we've been to space and we've seen that it's not.
You don't know that we've been to space. You've literally just said that you're not sure.
Well, we've been in space. I just don't know whether or not we've been to the moon.
We for sure have been
in
space.
We've orbited the planet, yeah.
We've orbited the planet?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are, and this was new information to me, okay? I did not realize that this existed, but there are literally societies. There's a thing called the International Flat Earth Society.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There are literally organizations that try to dispute that the Earth is round. And they are just, they have formulas and equations and photography, and they're trying to dispute that it is round. Now, what do you say to those folks? Because they're saying you're crazy, and you're saying they're crazy.
Now, why are they saying I'm crazy?
Well, because you're saying it's round. It's not round. Clearly, look at our evidence.
Well, I feel like I have a overwhelming degree of evidence in my camp that says that the Earth is round.
From who? You've
scientists
it yourself?
Science,
like NASA astronauts.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
The people that lied about the moon landing. Yeah, you're going to trust their opinion.
I see what you did there. Ooh.
Well, really, when you kind of look at this, it's one of those things that that's why I get in this camp of I don't care. I have lived on this earth, as of a couple of weeks, 33 years.
And you're going to die here.
I have never fallen off, and I have never had any issues if the earth is round, with it being round.
Okay, but if like the earth is flat,
okay.
Wouldn't you eventually get to the point where you fall off?
Sure.
Or have we not reached the edge of the earth?
That edge of the earth. We've never reached it.
So is there like some kind of weird like wormhole or portal on the other side of Earth?
I would recommend that you go to the International Society's website and look, because I've had some questions and I can't give you answers right now. But I've asked like, when you fly around the Earth and you orbit it, it's this, and they're like, well, that's actually a scientific principle of this. And they like have all this explanation.
But if I get into the air and I fly east,
okay,
and I keep going east, I will eventually end up where I started.
Have you ever done that?
No, but plenty of people have.
Who?
There's a lot of pilots that have flown around the world.
Missing Earhart? Is that who you're referring to?
Maybe yes. Sure.
Okay. Like, I mean, again, so let me go back to my point real quick. I've never fallen off the earth if it's flat.
Okay.
And I haven't had any negative side effects if it's round. Maybe that's why I'm round, is because it's some pull of the round
the centrifugal force of the earth. Yeah. So that's what causes gravity.
Yeah, so something's happening. They also
the core of the planet causes gravity.
They also have things rebuttaling that type of gravity talk that you're talking about. However, here's my point. No negative effects have happened, regardless of whether the Earth is flat or round. So why does it matter? If the Earth is flat, it's not going to change my day. I have lived almost 33 years where if it's flat, it's flat. If somebody said today, Josh, unequivocally, the Earth is flat, I'm not going to implode. I'm not going to immediately fall off the edge of something.
I mean, it's not going to change your life.
No.
I mean, it's not going to change how you live your life. But
we're creating societies to prove or disprove these things that ultimately, who cares?
Well, I think that's a situation where you have too much time on your hands.
I guess.
But with like the moon landing, if we didn't land on the moon, I think that does matter.
Why?
Because it's a lie. It's like a great lie. It's a historical lie, and if they can lie about something like that, they can lie about a lot of stuff.
I'm sure there's a lot of things that the government does not tell
like
us.
the JFK assassination.
Yes. There are plenty of things that the government does not tell us, John, and we'll get into JFK in a second. But let me ask you a question. I'm going to run a scenario, and I don't want your opinions about the matter. I just want to know what you think is possible or plausible. If today the government came out and they said, here is the evidence regarding the moon landing. It was faked. We found out that it was faked. Here is the evidence that proves as such. Now what? So tell me what that changes, whether in yourself, whether the country. Tell me what happens from that.
I think there's there's certain things that the government could come out and say like that they lied about that would be more impactful, but I think it would be it would call a lot of things in question in terms of of science, in terms of what else has the government lied to us about? It opens up a whole can of worms.
And do you think? And I'm not saying that's good if the government lied. That it's good that they did. Yeah. But is it worth knowing to have that kind of distrust thrown into a system that may or may not be stable or unstable already?
See, but I think in the situation of the moon landing, you could sell it as a necessary lie. You could sell it as a lie that, hey, we had to beat the Soviets. We had to win the Cold War. We had to win the space race.
You can still say distrust.
Oh, sure.
People are still going to call it a lie.
Absolutely. But there's already people that don't believe it happened. So I don't know what the percentage is, but it's like 20% or something like that thinks that we don't believe that we didn't land on the moon. So, I think you'd be able to convince those other 80% of people that, hey, you know what, we might have lied, but we did it for the right reason.
Talking about 20% believe that we landed on that we did not land on the moon. 80% of the people believe that we probably did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the statistics, but I'm going to say it's probably proportional numbers for people who believe that the Earth is flat. There's probably a smaller...
I would say that there's probably... Yeah.
There's a smaller... I'm just saying there's a smaller number of people that believe it's flat than believe
absolutely.
it's round.
Yeah.
So not similar to the moon landing.
Yeah.
But in that case, like, is it better to appease that small group of people than the larger group? Like, is it necessary?
I think it depends on who that small group of people is.
You? If it's you, then you want to know? Like,
no, but I think it
does it matter.
I think it depends on
19 other percent.
No, I think it depends on. I don't. As I said, I believe it's plausible. But you held a gun to my head, and I did
hold a gun to your head. You said this Earth is a flat disc, and so is the moon.
That's not what I said.
If people come into the episode right now, it is. It is definitely what you said. I
think it depends on who that group of people is. It's like, for example, like if the people who think that JFK was assassinated by the government of the United States to put in a president into office that would be more amenable to the getting involved in Vietnam, then I think that could have really serious repercussions for how people view the country, as well as like the people that are do we really live in this democratic society that people say that we believe that we do?
I think some of these things would turn the country upside down and make things put into turmoil. And so for me, I kind of think...
And the moon landing to me isn't one of those.
I'm okay with not knowing... Well, but in our country today, and I'm going to say in the last 20 years even, as media and technology increase, we increasingly become focused on minor things.
Things that don't matter in the grand scheme
really
of
don't
things.
matter.
Yeah.
And so what a politician sends via his text messaging, what a politician tweets, what a politician does in their free time, when that is so hyper-focused. And
amplified to such a degree.
It's amplified to such a degree. What do you think the moon landing faking is going to do? And in my opinion, because we're so hypersensitive about everything, I mean, whether or not a politician eats their pizza with a fork can make national headlines. What do you think? Oh, yeah, by the way, we faked the moon landing. I think that would have negative repercussions. And for me, I kind of feel like it's kind of that dirty laundry that families have where you just don't talk about that thing. And I don't think that that's bad if you remedy going forward.
Okay, but like negative repercussions in what way, though?
Well, I think you kind of distrust. Okay, so let's say I come out and I say moon landing's fake. I prove it. You will likely, or not you specifically, but people will likely start to distrust the government.
Sure, but like...
But wait.
Okay.
It wasn't our government today that told that lie so many years ago. And the heirs, the sins of your fathers, basically, are going to come and bite, I think, the current government, which is going to have negative repercussions now versus what you would look at. I mean, if they admitted to it back then or within 10 years, okay, you guys need to get into shape.
Yeah.
But any of those lies are just going to, I think, hurt our country maybe currently.
Yeah, but I think that you have a... Like, the moon landing, to me, wouldn't get, like, that kind of visceral reaction. Like, something like the JFK assassination, I think, would be...
fork.
Yeah, but you got to think about it. Like, the moon landing isn't a direct threat to our, like, freedom and democracy. Like JFK, the JFK assassination, if he was killed by the government, that is a direct threat to the democratic beliefs of the people of the United States of America. And I think that would blow up way more than, like, the moon landing. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, and also, we're thinking about reactions of America. How do you think other countries would feel?
Well, yeah, I mean, if we were willing to kill our own president,
well,
like what else did? Yeah, well,
I mean,
that's
other
true.
Countries would be like
if I'm the Russians, I'm like,
excuse
that's
me?
BS.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I mean,
we were actually like getting close, and you guys screwed us.
I don't think that's good, and I think it makes America a liar. and then it makes us distrusted by other people.
Yeah, it definitely would damage like the standing country on the world stage for sure. Yeah.
And for me, I feel like I'm not saying that those lies should have happened if they happened. And I'm not saying that the people that came shortly after that should have kept those lies necessarily. But now we're too far gone.
And that's where you get into like the sins of my father type of thing. Because it's not the sins of my father. If that did happen and there was a cover up and you continued that cover up, is it the sin of your father?
Yes, it is. Because here's the thing: the sin to uncover. See, here's the thing: you're not covering it up anymore. You're just not uncovering it. And that's a distinct and subtle difference, because let's say that we say, by uncovering this thing, we are going to ruin our world standing, we're going to, make the American people distrust us and all this stuff. That's a terrible thing to do to make that happen. And whether it's something you do, if you do something bad in office or something like that, or whether it's uncovering something, it's still not good. That would be its own sin.
You think there's a statute of limitations on that?
I kind of think so. Like, I think if... nobody wants to be the bad guy. And that's the problem. So let's say, and I'm not versed in presidential history, so I'm just going to say general numbers. So, president, moon landing. The president that comes after the moon landing, well, they don't want to look bad.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be the person that says, by the way, last year, just before I got here, remember that one time? Like, they don't want to do that. And then the next person after them is like, well, that guy didn't do it. Why should I do it? And then the next guy might be like, that's not my problem. So I think it's kind of like two presidents after deep, maybe, where it's kind of like that's where you have an option because to be the bigger person. After that, it's almost more detrimental because it's
almost like a national security thing.
Yeah, you've covered it up for so many terms.
Yeah.
That when does it become, detrimental? And again, I'm not saying that lie should have occurred. And by not uncovering it, you almost... Are you saying it's allowable to do that? That's where you get into that morality issue of saying, oh, if we don't uncover this, that's basically saying it's okay to lie and cover it up. Well, no, it's just saying let's not.
I really think like the best sterilant is light, like shining light on something. That is the best way to like. I don't know.
Maybe.
No.
I kind of feel like there would be very negative repercussions that. Would not be good and unintended.
Okay, so like they had this big release of JFK documents in November or October, whenever it was, or maybe December, and the thing is like it didn't do anything to put the conspiracy theorists to rest because there was all this stuff that was redacted. You released all these documents, but there's all this redacted stuff. There's certain documents that you didn't release. Yeah, it's one of those things where the declassification of those documents almost makes the conspiracy theory like worse.
Well, also, I think that it gave, kind of some interesting insights, and I didn't read all of the specifics of them, but I heard something come out about that that Martin Luther King was like heavily included. And like
and
that he might have even had a mistress and like, all this bad stuff, and I'm like. Left field, and like again, that is in a way I feel like kind of a damaging thing, and not that it shouldn't be released or shouldn't be talked about, and it doesn't take things that he did and make them bad or worse. I mean, what he did, was great for civil rights and all those types of things, but it kind of makes you look at things in a different way. I think similar with some of the things that are happening in Hollywood, where you look at a person and you're like, wow, they weren't the person I thought they were.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the previous movies they made not good. I mean, they were still good actors.
Yeah, that's true, but I almost think there's something cathartic in looking at, and this is something that has really hit hard in the last, 20, probably even less than 10 years. But in looking at our founding fathers and historical figures, as they were as human beings, as opposed to making them into these mythological, legendary figures that were above reproach and were above moral questioning, things like that. And they were human beings just like the rest of us. And I do think long term, that might be a good thing. But it's hard for us now to be able to look at these people and say, yeah, it's really uncomfortable for me to think of that person like that.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like it's tough for me to like think of the fact that like Ben Franklin like had syphilis. You know,
I picture Ben Franklin eating cheese puffs, playing video games,
Yeah.
every time in his underwear. I'm gonna say 2 words: Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
Like, how can someone fall so far from grace?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know,
we had,
like,
we had a national holiday.
We still have
we
a
do.
national
Yeah,
holiday.
you're right. You're right.
And like, I kind of looked at some of the stuff he said, like, and he was one of the proponents that did not think the Earth was round. He thought that it was pear-shaped and had a nipple at the top. Like,
see, but like to me,
it was one of those things where.
To me, like we have to like meet in the middle from where we're at now, because like before we had like like where we had national holidays and things like that, and I don't think it's necessarily good to just get rid of all those. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like Columbus, he led the voyage that discovered America. In terms of like history, I mean, like you could Eric the Red or like other Vikings and stuff that may have discovered it beforehand, and that we have the Native Americans that were here before that. He didn't really discover it, but in terms of Western civilization, he did.
Yeah,
and so like they're definitely historical figures that played a prominent role in getting us to where we are now, and so it's important that we don't just like ignore those. Yeah, they were flawed people that did terrible things, but that doesn't mean that they weren't a historical figure that had significance.
My problem with holidays has always been this. I do not think, and hear me out, don't take this out of context, people, or clip the podcast. I don't think there should be a Columbus Day. I don't think there should be a Martin Luther King Day. I don't think there should be a George Washington's birthday. What they did with George Washington's birthday, it happened to be that day, but it's President's Day.
Yeah.
We should have Black History Day or Civil Rights Day. We should have Exploration Day that celebrates.
Yeah, we could talk about all
like
Amerigo Vespucci.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think you should ever have a day for a person, because a person can be flawed, but an idea, I think, is infallible in what you're trying to accomplish. By saying Columbus Day, it wasn't the fact that it was him. It was the fact that there was exploration, the discovery of a new world, and advancing civilization. That was the ideas and tenets.
Yeah.
And that's not flawed. The person can be flawed, so let's not open it up to having that flawed person. Let's say that I discover the cure for cancer. I do not want a Josh Nichols Day.
Well,
I want a medical advancement day.
Even if you discovered the cure for cancer, Big Pharma would kill you.
Yeah, that's true.
And it would never see the light of day.
Conspiracy.
I just tried to bring it back there because I think we kind of strayed from the conspiracy
we did get really
theory.
Far away.
Yeah.
Okay, so JFK assassination. I remember writing a paper in high school. The assignment was to write a paper about who you felt killed JFK. And instead, I wrote a paper titled, "We Will Never Know Who Killed JFK."
Yes.
Because I don't think we'll ever truly know all the details.
Oh, I don't think we will.
The facts are going to be lost. It's a cold case that gets colder every year. And with all the conspiracy theories
and people are dying every year.
It's just going to get harder. And ultimately, for me, I'm in that camp of, if he was killed by if he was killed by Miss Scarlet in the library, or he was killed by Colonel Mustard in the den with a wrench, no matter what happened, my day before I found out went just fine. I had lunch, I woke up, I took a shower, all these things happen. I didn't have lunch and then take a shower and then wake up. I actually didn't do it in that order. But my life went on. The day after, my life is still going to go on, but I think there could be negative repercussions elsewhere. So why not just let my life go on like it's been going on without the possibility of adding negative repercussions?
What grade did you get on the paper?
I got, I believe, an A. Here's the other problem. The teacher I had, I don't dislike a lot of people on this planet, but I did not care for him as a human. And bless his heart, and I hope he's doing well. That's an old Southern thing. Bless his heart. But he always would say, somebody would ask a question like, could you repeat that? I didn't quite hear what you said. Could you? And you're like, am I speaking German? Huh?
Yeah.
You don't understand me? Am I speaking German? So I remember Google Translate and stuff was just becoming kind of big. And I put the whole paper into Google Translate German.
That is awesome.
Pasted it in and handed it in. And the very last paragraph was, "Am I speaking German?" And then I had the spare paper that I should turn into him. And so, but here's the fault of he couldn't fault me on the paper. It was a minimum 3-page paper. Mine was 15 pages, including autopsy photos,
awesome.
like clips of the screen caps of the Zapruder video.
Yeah.
Like I was a big JK fan, so I was like, "Oh man, like this is kind of a cool thing." So he couldn't fail.
See, and
it was too good.
I actually have a friend that is a history teacher, a high school history teacher, and on one of his, he is not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imagination, and on one of his tests. They kind of go over the 60s, and the JFK assassination is one of them. And one of the questions is, it's a multiple choice question, and there's 4 answers, but 2 of the answers are he was shot by who shot JFK, and one of the answers is Lee Harvey Oswald. He acted alone, and another one was the CIA and the military to install LBJ as president of the United States. And every year he has a kid that circles the CIA LBJ one, and he's like torn over whether or not because
you don't know.
We don't know. The historical record says it was Lee Harvey Oswald, but there's a lot of people that say that that's not the case.
That is true.
And here's the thing: you said it earlier. Ideas are infallible. And if I have the idea that Oswald did not act alone, I can't be wrong, because ideas are infallible.
John, I don't want to stop you, but I'm going to stop you right there because we have got to get to the shoot. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be back next week, but right now we're filming the Mars landing, and so we really got to get to the set.
Mr. Abrams to set. Mr. Abrams to set.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to Pop Culture Problems. We'll see you next time.